Alright guys, well, as you can hear in the background, I'm hunting relatively close to the road today. That's because I've got a really nice buck that some of you guys might recognize. It's a buck that I call Hex, and for the past, I think 3 years that I've got history with him, he's been a 6-pointer. I found his first shed, actually kind of up on the ridge behind me here. I think it was 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty big 6-pointer. And then the following year he showed up on camera, and I was like, this is a giant 6-pointer. And he was big then, and he's still real big now. Unfortunately, he went from being a typical 6 to last year he was like a typical 8. He had a kind of inside point on one side, and then he had like a, I call it a drop tine. It's more of a crab claw at the end of his main beam, but he's got that same crab claw again this year, so he's technically a 7, but he is a monster deer. He's old, he's big. If you guys know me, I don't really care all too much about score and stuff like that. I love these big old unique bully bucks. So needless to say, I'm going in after him. I think he's bedding off in this creek bottom behind me here, so it's backed right up against the road. So it's nice because all this road noise covers a lot of noise on my behalf, but the issue I'm going to run into tonight, I think, is if I get relatively close to where he beds at, I might not be hearing him coming, so he might catch me off guard. All right, all set up and in. Pretty cool spot. I've actually never hunted on this side of the ridge before. Another nice buck. I think there's one behind me. absolute chaos in here right now. This is the most unbelievable sit I've had. All right, guys, good afternoon. This morning was a little slow, little cold. Half my body was filled with snow, the other half was not. This side might be wind burnt, this side is not. So my game plan today was to not stay on top of the ridge where I get pummeled by snow and wind, and instead get down below in the bottom. Got a bunch of big food plots down here. This is the spot where the turkeys a lot of times will pitch down into. And it also ends up being a very good fall plot for whitetails. So got a couple rack fuel food plots down here. Hopefully, old Big Chungus will see the decoy tonight and want to come in for a fight. So got a little bit of snow flurries. The sun's kind of peeking out of the clouds. So I'm going to hurry up, quit talking, start carrying all this stuff down, and find a tree to climb into for the evening. So. Exciting. It's a really nice 10-pointer that got a couple of years of history and sheds off of really pretty deer. Good morning, my fellow sleep-deprived November hunters. It is only the 3rd of November and I feel like I haven't slept in a month, but it is early and we're heading into the stand this morning, a spot that I've hunted a handful of times, but it's always been in the evening here. So today will be my first morning hunt. kind of a risky entry in here this morning. I used to always park way down in the bottom and walk my way up into here, but I always bump deer like crazy out of these fields. And there's no other way to access it other than keep the truck on the driveway and kind of pull past the fields until you get into the woods and then go. So, never tried this with any luck. It'll work. I'm hoping that the odds of bumping the deer out of the field was still probably pretty high. I didn't see any actually, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign, but either way, I feel like a vehicle scaring a deer is a little less intrusive than a loud walking Sasquatch with 50 pounds of gear on his back and a bow over his shoulder. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you get a little creative in your entries and exits. So today I'm gonna make my way in and hope for the best. So here we go. And I might take a quick snooze while in the stand because I am tired. Got a buck grunting right under me. Well, that was an exciting start to the morning. I can hear him down there still. That was just like a snort. I was trying to get his attention with the grunt, but he couldn't even hear me. He was running like a chicken with his head cut off. So let's hope he works his way back. Gosh, come on, buddy. I'll be shocked if he leaves this dell, but... Bummer. Just hoping that he definitely heard my grunts and snort wheezes, so I'm just hoping that he leaves her eventually. If she's not hot, comes up here to check me out. Alright, well, that was a very exciting morning. I've got these does bedded still down below me, but I'm going to try to sneak out of the tree without busting them. So I've got a wedding this weekend. I'm going to go do that, get that out of the way, and then I'm coming back. We're going to do some more hunting this week, so hopefully big old buck starts working the script. But until then, bow hunt or die. And don't get married in November. Hex just came by. of a sudden he was right here. Dear diary, it's the evening of November 6th, and there's a 50% chance you can't even hear me speaking because it's so windy. But thankfully for the wind, it does not feel like I'm sitting out in a jacuzzi because it's approximately 70 degrees in November. But I'm making my way back in to that bedding area that I had the encounter with Hex this morning. I'm tired of seeing that deer where it's too dark for me to film and too fast for me to even react. So hopefully tonight he pushes her out of this clear cut and back up to me during daylight and gives me an opportunity. I'm going through this milo field right now, and as you can see, it is eaten alive. So that tells me there's a lot of deer in here, which I saw several does and fawns. And at this time of year, when you're hunting bucks, you gotta be hunting does because that's what the bucks are doing. So I'm diving back into the same bedding area. Just with the wind, how it's switching tonight, I might swap across the trail to the other side. We'll see what I end up doing, but I just hope I can get in here without busting anything. That is an angry, large deer. Just smoke Piebald. Go down, big fella. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys, I freaking did it. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's got back up. Oh my god. Yes. Oh my goodness. My freaking limb fractured. Oh my gosh. I just killed a monster buck. Guys, oh my gosh. I heard that crack and I wondered what the heck happened. So the other day, I made a bonehead freaking move. And I hooked my backpack and my bow together and let the bow down. And it smacked the ground pretty dang hard. I burned my hands up real freaking bad. And I noticed there was a small little fracture on the top of my limb. Oh my gosh, that deer is one that I have been after for 4 years. I think I have history with that deer. 4 years I've had history with that buck. I've known him since he was a 2-year-old. And I used to get pictures of him at the far south end of this farm. And every year we'd get pictures. Somebody would get close to shooting him and they wouldn't get him. Today, one of the guys saw him all the way at the far west, southwest side of the property, at least 3/4 of a mile from here in a straight line. And that was to the south. And here he comes from the north. And he was coming right for this scrape. And I thought, why not just shoot him right here? And I drew back. And I heard my limb pop, and so did he, and he stopped. And you'll see in the footage, he was literally in line with this tree. And I had to miss the tree by like 1/2 of an inch, and he was staring right at me. And I thought, I'm gonna tuck it in there. He's dead 80 yards away. I cannot believe it. That buck is one of the coolest freaking bucks on the farm. There goes a doe or something. There's a big buck right here. Another big one. Another big one. That's the initial impact. I don't know.
Just like a good 3D target setup. He goes right behind the limb.
And I did my first 3D shoot this year up in Wisconsin, and all that practice paid off because it was exactly that. I don't see the arrow. So I don't know if that's still in him. I guess we'll have to. Oh, nope, never mind. There it is right there. So there's your arrow. Which looks good. The new meat freak from NAP. I've been waiting for that one to come into stock. That's the first one with that. All right, let's go find him. There he is. We are good. He stayed exactly where he wants. Oh my God. Oh man. Boy. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, he's stiff as a board. What a freaking beast. That tree stopped him from sliding down into the canyon. Unfreaking real, guys. Look at that.
He's sliding down the hill.
I was gonna say he's sliding off the cliff. I'm gonna have to get him up on top of the hill so you guys can get a better look at him, but there he is. That is Piebald. The 5.5 year journey of chasing this deer is finally over. So unbelievable. Let's go get him up and get a better look. It does not get old either. All right, guys. Well, here he is, the legacy buck that we call Piebald, that I was fortunate enough to harvest last night. Talk about an unbelievable day. It's been a crazy season for me. I've had buck encounter after buck encounter, and unfortunately nothing within shooting range. I had Hex yesterday morning chase a doe. Now for the second time this season, the big 6-pointer that we've been chasing after, come under me before camera light and after camera light on 2 occasions, and I haven't even got video of the deer. So of course, that's how that goes. And then yesterday, got a text from one of the guys in the group saying that this buck was 3/4 of a mile to the far south side of the property, and an hour and a half later, here he comes from the north, rolling through the doe bedding area, tongue hanging out, looking for some does. So that is the beauty of November. That's what we all live for. It's what we all hate about November too, because you can be in the game for 30 seconds and next thing you know, the buck that you're after is a mile away on the next door property. So a few weeks ago, I made the mistake of putting my bow and my backpack on my bowstring together. And when I set that down to the ground, way too much weight for my paracord to handle, and it burned right through my hands. I tried to hang on as tight as I could, and the bow and the backpack hit the ground pretty darn hard. And so I shot the bow the next couple days. Everything seemed to be doing all right. Well, then a couple days later, I looked at my bow and I discovered a small little chip up on the limb, and I looked at it and was like, unbelievable. When I dropped it, sure enough, I hit a steel stake on a fence post right below my stand. So here we are now, a couple weeks later. I'd shot the bow several times, and I thought to myself, well, I don't want to take my bow to the repair shop during prime time November. And sure enough, I drew back on this buck, and if you pay attention closely, you can hear the limb actually delaminate Thankfully, structurally, it's still fine. It was just the paint that chipped up in the air. But in the moment, I had no idea what happened. All I knew is that the buck stopped, looked directly at me. I looked up and down my bow to make sure that my arrow was still on the rest, because I just heard the snap. I didn't quite know exactly what was going on. And once I realized the buck was staring straight into my soul, I thought I better make this count, or else he's going to be gone and out of my life and a mile away from here. And I settled in, and I knew there was a sapling right over his front shoulder, so I had to tuck it right in front of that sapling and heart punched him. I mean, it could not have gone any better. So he ran 50 yards, piled up, and then I got the big hunting crew together of all the guys, and we went and recovered him last night. So unbelievable story, unbelievable end to a buck that I've got trail cam photos of since 2019 as a 2.5-year-old deer. So in this area, this buck has been a frequenter of many trail cameras. I've seen him on Facebook with people asking, what's this white patch going on this deer's shoulder? So I was the lucky guy to harvest this beautiful 6.5-year-old deer. And now I get to not only finance a home mortgage, but I also got to finance another pedestal mount for this guy. So really looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to some more November hunting, guys. So if you're not in a tree, get out there. And as always, bow hunt or die.
Well, there's nothing better than watching the whitetail assassin himself, Jert. If you don't know, his real name is Jert, but anyhow, it's Kurt. Listen, Justin, I don't know what else to say. I mean, this guy, from the day that we met him, the guy can shoot big bucks, and he's extremely good at it.
Yeah, Kurt's a better deer hunter than I am. There's no doubt about it.
He's good at what he does. Listen, Kurt knows how to hunt. He knows how to read the sign. He knows how to get out there and get it done. He's super fast. He's super efficient with that. I think
he only hits them when they're big. Misses the little one in Kentucky this year.
I'm glad that you said that and I didn't say that. And every time I look at you, I feel like I'm looking at myself.
I know,
mean,
you like us? We're
dude,
like
you wore
today. I wore my glasses today.
It's weird.
I was giving my eyeballs a
Look
little
at this
rest.
new hat, too. This is a new bow hunt or die hat you got on.
We got a new hat for sale.
I feel like you just copied me completely. You're just trying to be me.
It is kind of fun being Todd for a day.
Being Todd for a day.
Tell you what, folks. I don't know, do you say that? I feel like you probably don't say that.
I do not.
Todd never
say
says
that.
folks.
I do not say folks.
All right, enough talking about Kurt's hunt. It was a fun hunt. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I want you to comment below. If you
want me to comment?
No, I am telling the people that have made it to this far into the show to comment.
The hardcore viewers, the serious fans.
To comment whether or not you want to see us doing more of this or less of this.
More of what, dressing alike? Should we dress alike on every episode?
Being together in the studio talking. We're constantly thinking about how to mix things up, how to make things better. We're talking about some rebranding ideas. We're talking about all different kinds of things for 2024. Even looking to get some new additional staff, which we will talk about in a later episode or maybe later. So if you think you should be seen on this show,
more staff.
If you think you could be seen on this show, or if you think you have what it takes, some skills to be a part of our team, make sure you reach out to us and let us know. But let's move forward to right now. Ask the Experts with PJ.
Ask the Experts.
Ask the Experts with PJ Riley.
Our question for today comes from Dennis Kudron, probably mispronouncing that, but Dennis asks, I'm dead on at 30 yards consistently while on the ground. I get in the tree and shoot, and my arrow will hit 2 inches to the left every time. My bubble is level, no canting. What is going on? It's a great question. Let's see what PJ's got to say.
Let's see what he's got for us.
Okay, guys, great question today. I am glad someone asked about this because this illustrates a point we've talked about before. So, Bow Hunter says he's dead on at 30 yards consistently standing from the ground. Then when he goes up into the tree, he's consistently hitting 2 inches to the left. Now, he says that his level isn't an issue. His bow, he's got the level in the middle when he's up in the tree stand. He's wondering what's going on. All right, so we should start by saying there could be a number of issues here, but what this screams to me is that his third axis is off. So when you have a sight, there are three axis adjustments. And basically what you're trying to do is to get this sight perfectly level. Obviously, if it's not, you're going to lean one way or the other. This guy says that his level is in the middle, but he could still be leaning the bow to get that. So where does the third axis come in? So as you can see, this bow is perfectly vertical. I've got level on the string, one on the sight arm, and we can see our bubble in the scope housing itself. So this bow is perfectly vertical. This is how you'd be shooting it if you're standing on flat ground. Now we're going to go up in the tree stand. So this one becomes irrelevant. And I want you to watch this level on the sight arm. That's our constant. Nothing's changing there. It is always going to be, that's going to be your guide to tell you what is truly level. And when I come forward, like I'm taking a shot down from a tree stand, and I get my bubble in the middle on the sight arm, I come into the scope, my bubble is all the way to the left. So you can see that my third axis is off. And when the bubble is all the way to the left, what's the fix? You have to lean the bow to the left. Remember the guy said his shots were hitting 2 inches left. Well, if he leans the bow to the left, now the level is in the middle. So he can be, you're aiming down, you're not really sure what is actually level. You're using your bubble in your scope to tell you what's level. So he could be canting the bow to the left to compensate, to get his bubble in the middle, and then his shots are gonna go to the left. So, easy fix. When you're leveling your sight, when you're putting a new sight on a bow, what you want to do is you want to get your bow in this position, and then if you have a third axis adjustment, you would adjust your third axis using your guide level, your constant, so that you know what actually is level. Adjust your scope to match that, and then whether you shoot up or down, you know that your bubble is going to be true.
All right, well, thank you to PJ. And this right here is why we keep PJ around, because you and I would absolutely not have known that answer. See, we get to learn something too.
I have a feeling that PJ might have went and asked the technical expertise experts at Lancaster Archery.
And then came back.
Dude, that's what I'm saying happened.
Fair enough. So we're giving PJ more credit than he deserves, is what you're saying.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Fair enough. Well, thank you to PJ and whoever the smart people behind PJ are actually answering the questions at Lancaster Archery. Next up, last thing for this episode, we're going to jump into trophy photos brought to you by the fine folks at 10 Point Crossbows. Let's take a look now. Brandon Esselage, Craig Schneider,
Oakley Fisk, Oliver Shriver,
Vincent Trutner,
Weston Dietrich.
Congratulations to everybody. We had some fine bucks this week. Some big suckers, Graf.
Wow.
I know, right? They're giving me a little bit of rack envy. Oakley Fisk with a fine buck up there in Wisconsin, probably related to Carlton Fisk, if I had to guess.
Well, let's do it differently this week. Instead of worrying about the quality of the photo, and I know this is out of character.
So now we're gonna hose the guys that make the good photos?
This is completely
They
out of
finally made it
character.
into a show and Todd's changing the rules on them.
We are changing the rules to this. What buck would you want to shoot here right now if you could choose? That will be winner number one by you, and I'll choose
shoot the
number two.
number just to make you mad.
Okay, so you're saying you would shoot. Is that your true statement right now?
No,
No,
but I would shoot
did not
the
think so.
number.
What buck would Justin Czar want to shoot if he could choose one right now?
There's a lot of good bucks in there.
There is.
I just can't get past the photo part of it though, right?
You have to.
For
This
me,
is about what buck would you want to shoot, Justin. Let's stick with the program. We're going to make Paul work harder.
I like Brandon's buck.
I
He just looks like an older deer. Big head,
yeah.
big tall rack. I know something about it. He probably doesn't score as high as some of those other deer, but I
know.
like that buck.
Me too. So unfortunately, there will not be two winners this week because Brandon was my answer as well. So
Heck of a deer.
yeah.
I mean, Craig and Vincent, probably bigger bucks, right? I mean, look at Vincent's
Vincent's is
deer.
huge.
That
Vince is
thing's
a big
huge.
buck.
But I don't know, something about that Brandon buck that
I love
just
that buck.
gets me right here, Todd, in the heart. But we got to say a shout out to Little Weston. That's his first deer he's ever killed. When that photo came in, I clicked on the email and opened it up, and I was like, hell yes. That was like my first thought that went through my head. Like, look at that
smiling.
photo. Look at that kid. Like, You'll never be that happy again in your life, Todd. As that kid is right there, whacking that nubber with a crossbow, dude. I love it.
Weston's coming for our jobs one day, is
Dude,
what I have to say.
I hope so. Congrats to Weston and to everybody. So, yeah, that's all we've got for this week's episode of Bowhunter Die. Guys, make sure you tune in. Next week, we have more exciting action. Brando, what do we got? Who do we got next? What's coming up? Spolem. Spolem killing Todd's #1 hit lister.
And we're going to have to mix things up.
Graf is still crying about that one.
Brandon's going to be mad because you're just going to be scratching the microphone here.
Where's your microphone?
I got it.
Shoulder?
It's right
Why is
here.
it there? What a weird guy Todd is.
Yes, we got a big buck coming up on the next episode.
Todd's
right here.
#1 hit lister goes down.
It did.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bowhunter Die.
The audience today.